Steam these days are plagued with anime games that are most of the time less than subpar in quality. Some of them solely exist just to have an excuse to publish adult games on Steam and has barely any gameplay or story behind them at all. These games cloud anime or anime-styled games that are otherwise really good games. One example of the latter is what we're going to talk about today, Rabi-Ribi. Rabi-Ribi is a 2D metroidvania bullet hell platformer that focuses on non-linear gameplay. The game is developed by Crest Spirit and Gema Yue and published by P-Cube, Circle Entertainment, and Sekai Project, famous for localizing anime games ranging from visual novels to full 3D games, their most notable localized game being Nekopara. When you first see Rabi-Ribi in the Steam store page, it looks just like an anime game that you would ignore and immediately put in your ignore list since the thumbnail of the game is two anime girls wearing skimpy costumes. People these days seem to get the connotation that if there's an anime girl in it, it is probably bad, which in my opinion is pretty unfortunate, since there are a lot of good games that include anime girls in it, Rabi-Ribi being one of them. Rabi-Ribi focuses more on the astounding gameplay it has rather than the game's characters. All cutscenes and dialogues can be skipped as well, so if you really are that sensitive towards anime girls with questionable clothing preferences, you can skip every dialogue in the game since everything else in the game are in pixel art. Rabi-Ribi also has various game modes that lets you do gameplay the entire time rather than reading the story. Although of course some of these game modes need to be unlocked by beating the story mode at least once. The story is pretty simple at best. The main character, Erina, was once a rabbit but got turned into a human. After getting back to her original world, she sets out to look for her master, Rumi, which she did immediately, and learns that her master's sister is missing. Rumi knows where her sister might have gone off to, which is on the other world where we first met Erina, and she can transfer Erina there using the magical stone tablet known as the Stele. She requires a large amount of mana to do the process, and so she asks Erina to gather magic users to help her. And from there on, the nonlinear aspect of the game begins. You explore the world looking for magic users while beating up all kinds of creatures that can harm Erina. This is great for people who just want a simple, easy to follow storyline with some plot twists here and there without giving it much thought. But if you are the type of person that likes to lore hunt and be compelled with a wonderful, perfectly woven, complex narrative, Rabi-Ribi's story won't appeal to you that much. There's no direct sequence of where you can go to aside from places that are blocked off by an upgrade that you need to get by progressing through the game. Being a metroidvania, the gameplay consists of exploring, item collecting, and backtracking a lot. And since the map is kind of big and consists of at least 10 different areas, the game offers fast travel points in the guise of a warp stone. This makes backtracking a lot tolerable and faster. Each area in the game feels unique from each other and doesn't feel repetitive. Match it up with the wonderful background music that is also unique for each area really makes you feel that you're traveling through different parts of the world of Rabi-Ribi. However, enemies get recycled and there are only a number of enemy variants that can be found in the game, and most of them get recycled and recolored to be used for another area. This makes fighting enemies a bit tedious and repetitive once you're further in the game. When first starting the game, you will only have your trusty hammer to deal damage with until you meet Ribbon the Fairy. Once you have Ribbon with you, the gameplay turns from a Castlevania Symphony of the Night style game to Mega Man style where you can shoot and charge projectiles. You will notice that Erina's equipment seems to be leveling up every time you hit and kill a certain amount of enemies with them. While that may signify that the game has a weapon level system, it is not the main focus and you can easily level up all the new offensive items that you get in the game. When you get Ribbon, she only starts with the basic projectile or appropriately termed magic in-game that shoots out a blue energy ball when charged, kind of like Mega Man. However, you can collect varying types of magic as you explore the world, totaling into 7 magic types. Each of these magic types have a different kind of basic shot and charge shot, as well as super, a powerful attack that Ribbon can perform. As mentioned in the tutorial after getting Ribbon, shooting charge shots requires the use of MP. In the same sense, using Erina's hammer requires SP. Using a super will deplete both the MP bar and the BP bar. The maximum amount of both the MP and the SP meters can be increased by collecting the respective upgrade items and buying them from the shop, as well as the rate of how fast they regenerate back. The BP meter is fixed, but an upgrade can be purchased from the shop that hasten its recharge. Erina's HP can be upgraded by collecting health upgrades scattered throughout the game and by buying them from the shop. Increasing your damage dealt to enemies can be upgraded the same way. But to increase Erina's defense, you need to equip badges. Badges give Erina various bonuses depending on what badge is equipped. These badges can be considered as her passive skills, which you can change on the fly. There are currently 31 badges available in the game, some of which are only available when one of the DLCs is purchased. There are badges that increase Erina's health, badges that increase her MP, there are badges that gives a tremendous amount of boost in damage you deal to enemies, but also increases the amount of damage you take. There are all kinds of assortments of badges in the game, and it will be worthwhile to collect them all and check which combination of badges suits your playstyle the best. Each badge requires different amounts of pack points, or PP. Erina starts with a maximum of 15 PP but can be upgraded by collecting pack-up upgrades throughout the game and by buying them from the shop. You may have noticed by now that exploring rewards players a lot. But exploring is not the only thing that rewards players. Finding secret spots, items hidden in breakable walls, pathways hidden by false walls, there are various other kinds of secrets hidden in the game that reward players with various rewards. The first few parts of the game can be pretty boring, especially at the start when you only have the hammer and Ribbon can only shoot a few charge shots before running out of MP. Erina moves slow as well and her jump height is so short. But as you progress through the game, you get more upgrades. Erina will start to move faster, she will gain a jump height boost, and even a double jump ability because let's face it, almost all metroidvanias need a double jump. Erina will also be able to slide under enemy bullets. She'd be able to roll in the ground with her hammer to attack enemies. Most of these abilities can be upgraded from the shop to further enhance it. And most importantly, enemy bullets become denser. Bullet hell is one of the emphasis of the game. The first few bosses of the game have flimsy bullet patterns. Then you reach the middle of the game and all their bullets cover the whole screen. They are fun to watch since, as with most bullet hells, bullet patterns are beautiful. They are fun to dodge as well. The game also offers 8 types of difficulty levels. Each difficulty changes the base level of bosses, the density of their bullet patterns, how much health they have, and how much damage they can deal to you. The difficulty levels are as follows: Casual, Novice, Normal, Hard, Hell, Bunny Extinction, Unknown, and Impossible. And starting from Hell difficulty, bosses will have what's called the Hyper mode where they receive less damage and will have faster bullet patterns when they reach low health. I never actually played in Hell difficulty and above, but with how difficult Hard is and from the videos of Bunny Extinction mode I've seen, I'm pretty sure I won't be able to survive them. And as a trend with bullet hells, Erina's whole body isn't actually her hitbox. Instead, her hitbox is a small diamond in the middle of her model. The game will show you her hitbox at the start of a boss battle, but you can make this appear deliberately anytime by pressing and holding the hammer button for a few seconds. In this way, Erina will actually start to walk very slow and you'll see her hitbox at the same time. This is one of the hidden tech that are hidden throughout the game. More on that later. Erina's small hitbox makes you weave through enemy bullets even on the tightest spot possible. And as with most bullet hells, each bullet type has its own hitbox as well, and the whole bullet doesn't necessarily mean that it is their whole hitbox. So it's a matter of knowing how near you can be to a bullet before it hits you. When beginning a new game, the game will ask you whether you want a standard playthrough or an alternative playthrough. And as what the tooltip says, this changes how enemies scale. On a standard playthrough, enemies scale with how far you are in the story and the upgrades that you have collected. The bosses scale so little, so having more upgrades collected will always give you a significant advantage over the bosses. Alternative, on the other hand, greatly scales with the story only, regardless of the items that you have. You have to collect every upgrades possible before a boss to make the fight even. During your third boss fight, or even after getting Ribbon, you might have noticed a meter at the top right side of the screen that appears every time you hit an enemy and disappears after a few seconds. You might also have noticed the letter at the left side of it. This meter is the ranking meter and indicates how well you are doing with the boss fight. This meter generally does nothing during exploration, but it is extremely important in boss fights. Your rank starts with E by default, and each successful hit to the boss increases the meter. Once the meter is full, your rank will increase up to the maximum max rank. Consequently, getting hit by enemy bullets or not attacking the enemy for a few seconds will decrease your rank pretty quickly. However, when you see a stop near your combo count in the rank meter, it means that not attacking the enemy will not decrease your rank, but of course getting hit still decreases it. This is the game's way of making it fair, as some bosses have attacks where it is impossible to hit them. Or you may hit them but not consistent enough that if the meter isn't stopped, you'll just end up losing your rank. You need to find the balance of knowing when to attack the enemy at the right time without getting hit by their attacks and dodging enemy bullets while trying to squeeze in an attack. There are 3 benefits in trying to increase your rank. First is that the ranking is directly proportionate to how well you're doing with the boss fight. This means that you're getting hit less, if not getting hit at all, while dishing out damage to the boss. Second, increasing your rank gives Erina a damage boost, up to a maximum of 75% at max rank. Which means that the better you're faring against the boss, the quicker you can defeat her. And third, you get to have some bragging rights that you have finished a boss with max rank. That means either you didn't get hit at all during the boss fight, or you only got hit a few times and your rank didn't go below max. It's very similar to the ranking system of games like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, but with the addition of a damage boost depending on your rank. And like with the 2 mentioned games, this will motivate you to perform well on boss fights and not just face tank the bullets and hope for the best. Each boss that you defeat eventually comes to town, and each of these bosses are recorded in the town section of the pause menu. This section lists all the boss that you have encountered and defeated, as well as the rank that you have finished the boss with. So if you still have a silhouette in this section, it means you've missed an optional boss. Earlier I've mentioned about making Erina move slowly as a hidden tech. There are hidden mechanics in Rabi-Ribi that are explicitly mentioned in any tutorials or texts in the game. You will probably already do one hidden tech by accident when you first start the game. Named the Quick Drop, it allows Erina to quickly go back to the ground when in the air. Not only it is useful to get through the world faster, especially on vertical places, but it also allows you to dodge bullets when you're in mid-air that will otherwise hit you. These 2 hidden techs are fairly simple, but the remaining ones require a decent amount of practice to be consistent on it. One such example is the reverse wall jump, which will allow Erina to jump off a wall even without the necessary upgrade for it, and the wall kick, which will allow Erina to jump even higher after reverse wall jump. This also allows you to sequence break, but most importantly, it lets you reach some upgrades that you will otherwise get later in the game when you finally have the proper upgrades. The game also has a lot of achievements to get. If you're the type of person that likes to collect achievements, this game should fill you up more than enough. The game has over 200 achievements that you can hunt for fun. One of the things that people dislike about the game is about the game boasting its focus on non-linear exploration, but at the same time restricts the player by putting dialogue barriers. For example, if the game doesn't want you to go through a certain area yet, Ribbon will talk to Erina and say that the next area is dangerous and that they should stick to where they are for the meantime, or other useless dialogue similar to that. While other areas are blocked off properly with obstacles that need an upgrade to overcome, like your standard metroidvania game, some areas are just lazily blocked off by a dialogue barrier, which kind of defeats the whole non-linear exploration. However, there is one section of the game where the developers deliberately put a way to sequence break and even give you an achievement for doing it. Another negative point that some people have is that the game is a little bit too anime, which I find to be a really minute detail, but I can see why people view it as a negative point. Only 2 of the DLCs for the game are worth buying in my opinion. These are Is the Order DLC and Season's Halloween. Both of these add more than 10 hours of gameplay on top of the base game, as the former acts as an immediate sequel. Both DLCs also add new optional areas and boss fights. However, buying the complete package that includes all the DLCs is not a bad idea as well. In conclusion, the game is fun and I totally recommend it. It has become one of my favorite games ever since I've seen it on Steam. I do hope that more people check out anime games and don't get turned off by the subpar titles that they see on Steam. Rabi-Ribi is a wonderful game that is buried under the countless amount of garbage anime games, which is really unfortunate. Hopefully, if you ever find this video, you'll have a change of heart and try out the game and other anime-style games in the future. I might also cover other anime-styled indie games as well as other metroidvanias that took the gaming industry by storm. So if you like the sound of that, please consider subscribing. That's it for me today. Thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you on the next video.